Good morning, everyone. Jim Laird joining you live from Grand Pacifica, Nicaragua. It's a beautiful day today. I'm joining you from my upstairs patio bedroom here in Grand Pacifica. And yesterday, we're going to actually talk a little bit about what Dr. Stillman and I talked about yesterday in our weekly lesson. I'm obviously not going to go into as much detail as Dr. Stillman and I did yesterday, but it's a good topic. It's a fun topic. I'm still trying to get my groove on. So it's like 9 a.m. here right now. So it's 11 a.m. Eastern. Nicaragua does not change. It does not spring forward or fall back. So in the summer, Nicaragua is 2 hours behind. In the winter, it's an hour behind Eastern time. So I usually do these around 8 or 9 o'clock. And so it kind of throws it off Eastern wise, which is fine. It just kind of has rearranged my day a little bit because it's kind of brought everything forward. I've kind of had to adjust my calendar. We're doing a lot of fun things. I actually really enjoy, talking to people, obviously. And so we're hiring someone in the medical side of things, and we've got it down to a few people, and I'm checking references right now. So a lot of phone tag being played and stuff, but I'm looking forward to doing that. I love the fact that what I do, I get to do all sorts of different things in the future. Hopefully I'll get to work with more people in person, that's my favorite thing to do. But right now that's just not in the cards. So I just kind of have to accept the fact that I'm not going to get to work with many people in person right now, but that'll change here shortly in the future, especially as if I get my gym going. So, but I get to do all sorts of different tasks, get to talk to all sorts of different people, and I love that. So next week, the topic that Dr. Stillman and I will be addressing is the approach to allergies, allergies, parasites, and mold, or stealth infections, mold and stealth infections. I know we did something along these lines a couple weeks ago, but this week we're doing the actual approach to it, how to attack it. So we're going to revisit that. So today, self-quantification and evaluation. This is a really interesting topic because if your goal is health, wellness, you're not really trying to drive performance. Alan Kress, pro bodybuilder, works with a lot of high-level celebrities. He talks about, like, if you just want to lose some weight, feel better, improve your health markers, just stop eating processed food, simplify things, start eating protein every meal. But if you really want to dial things in, or if you're really sick and you have a hard time, or if you've dug yourself a deep hole and you have a hard time figuring out exactly where you are, that's when measuring things and tracking things really come into play. But most people don't ever get to that level. But with hard charging people that have a really hard time, and I fall into this category, a really hard time self-regulating, things like the Oura Ring are essential. Okay. And a lot of people will be like, well, you should be able to feel it. But somebody who's highly driven, they can override that so easily. And they don't really understand how much stress they're under until they actually see the data. Now, we don't need an Oura Ring. When I would work with high school kids, I work with people in person. One of the reasons I like working with people in person is that when I had people come into the gym, I could tell by the way they were walking, by the way they presented themselves, their personality. If they had problems going on at home, I could always tell. I knew something was wrong. I'd be like, hey, what's up? Oh, nothing, not chatting. My ladies lifting team, if they all came in and started chatting and everybody was joking around and laughing, I knew they were all in a good place. But if they kind of kept to themselves and they weren't real chatty, I knew that they were the things weren't going well. We might need to modify workouts. I'm watching their warm-ups. They're not as crisp. They're not bouncy. I would know that we need to make some adjustments, maybe to that training session, maybe back off some of the intensity, maybe, cut out some of the accessory work, or maybe cut the main lift that day and maybe do some conditioning just to get them moving around a little bit. When you're working with somebody virtually, you can judge how they're doing by the way they present themselves, their tone. I can usually tell somebody that's a real hard charger. They get on the call and it's like, it's like a machine gun. It literally just like Alvin and the Chipmunks. And then I usually have to tell them, okay, slow down, take a breath. We need to learn how to lower our intensity. We don't have to be, like we're speaking in front of 10,000 people having a one-on-one conversation. And that's where, my job is difficult, because I have to be engaging when I'm on a group call, having to be animated. People don't want to listen to somebody who's monotoned and doesn't have any energy. So I have to make sure when I do multiple group calls a day, or I do multiple coaching calls a day, or I do, multiple podcasts in a day, that I'm taking the time to relax and slow my breathing down, to make sure that I stay, somewhere balanced, that my body can go into rest and digest stages. But when I work with high school kids, I would look at the way they're moving, look at the way they're warming up. We can also test vertical jump. That's a really good way to see where people are at. Generally, resting heart rate. We can take resting heart rate, and for someone's resting heart rate is really high, that means they either don't have a very good cardiovascular fitness base, or they're just plain exhausted. A lot of times they just don't have a really good ability to switch to regulate their nervous system very well. So once you teach them how to relax, all of a sudden their resting heart rate comes down without even doing any conditioning. So that's a big part of it. We test grip strength. That have high school kids. We have a gripometer, and when they came in, they do left, right hand. And then if their grip strength remained the same or it was going up, if they started crashing, then I knew they had some nervous system issues that we needed to kind of maybe back off a little bit, talk to them about sleep, talk to them about food. You can get into labs, you can get into all the details, but the Oura Ring tells us, I can tell basically what's going on with your body by your respiratory rate, your HRV, and your resting heart rate. If you've got a 60, 70, 80 resting heart rate, and your HRV is 15 and your respiratory rate 16, 17, that means your body is literally in a war zone all the time. You're not able to relax. Your nervous system's not very adaptable. You're going to have, you're going to be pumping out tons of cortisol. When you're in a state like that constantly, your body is getting ready to run from a threat. So it's going to pump blood away from your internal organs. It's going to take resources away from your digestion and mobilize everything for you to run. Okay. And that's the problem with modern day life. We've got these low level chronic stressors that our body interprets as a threat. So, 150 years ago, you're chilling, maybe you're picking some berries in the field, or you're chopping some wood, and all of a sudden a grizzly bear comes out and starts coming towards you. Your body has a huge dump of adrenaline, and you run up a tree, and the grizzly bear can't get you, or the grizzly bear eats you. Well, within an hour or two, all that stress response is gone, and you relax and you go back to work. Well, today it's like, oh, well, I've got to go to the store. You're standing in line, and you're flipping through your phone, and you're driving in traffic, and someone cut you off, and your body has that same response as if there was a bear coming out, and it's over and over again, and it's constant. And that's why, and we don't have the time. People are not sitting quietly bored. They're not sitting on the porch relaxing anymore. They're on their phone constantly. They're watching, whatever. They're constantly being stimulated. So it's this chronic stimulation of the nervous system that just wears the system down over time. So the nice thing about the Oura Ring is we can go in and show people, okay, look, like you're wired, They have a thing on heart rate where you can go in and see how much restorative time people would get during the day. And I had highly successful people who'd go back months and months and not have 1 minute of restorative time during the day. And then they'd start working on it. They'd get it up to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. And also they're like, I feel better. I have more energy. Right. And it's not like your whole day has to be restorative time, but there needs to be some downtime during the day where you kind of step back, especially when you're eating. A lot of people's digestive issues because they just don't slow down and chew their food. So you need to take the time when you sit down to eat. A lot of people will say, give thanks to the food, or give thanks for the food. They'll pray, or they'll Native American cultures will give thanks to the animal that basically donated the food. So and they would calm down and they would eat slowly. They'd eat as a family. You chew your food up. Now it's just like Uber Eats comes to the door, drops the food off. You hammer it down while you're on social media or on a Zoom call. I'm guilty of that. I've eaten plenty of times when I'm on a call, which probably isn't great. So slowing down, taking the time to eat, taking a couple nice breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, getting yourself calmed down before you eat is really important. That's where those 3 10-minute walks come in. You going outside, I really encourage people to go for 3 10-minute walks, not to burn calories, not for exercise. It's an observation, just breathing through your nose, just to calm the system down and to get outside and get your circadian rhythm in order. So I like the Oura Ring because you can wear it in airplane mode. It's not, I hate things that broadcast off your body. I don't think that's good for your body, but when it's in airplane mode, all it's doing is storing data, and you sync it once a day. And it tells me, if I had 2 drinks, my deep sleep has had half the amount of deep sleep I normally do when I have 2 drinks. Okay, well, maybe I should be careful how often I have 2 drinks. Oh, my HRV is down. That doesn't mean I can't perform at a high level. That just means I'm less likely to adapt to pushing myself. So I need more restorative stuff. I want to bring that HRV up a little bit. Oh, my respiratory rate's starting to creep up. Okay, I need to work on that. I need to slow my breathing down. I need to spend more time, in calm and quiet. My resting heart rate's going up. Okay, I need a little more easy cardio, or I need to relax. I need to do something float tank. I need to go get a massage, restorative yoga, something along those lines. So it helps guide you, because I need to see the data, because I can be completely exhausted and I can fake it till I make it. And I can get on a call. I can coach people on a couple hours of sleep, and push through for months and months. I did it for years and years and years. And then one day, boom, you can't do it anymore. The body stops you. So for people like myself that will cut down every tree in the forest, if you give them an axe, the Oura Ring is a really nice way to say, look at your data, look at your numbers. You can do it with labs too, blood work, but that's a little more inconvenient. Look at your numbers. Let's tailor your activity level and your training towards what your body can handle and what it can adapt to. And most people need a general base of fitness, and they need more things to get them into a state of homeostasis where they can actually rest, digest, recharge, get their hormones in a good place. And that involves getting outside, eating good food, drinking high quality water, having a social life, getting the lights off at night. That includes all of those things. So it's really just like having a coach on your finger all day. But you could do resting heart rate in the morning if you don't want to invest in an Oura Ring, or if you don't want to wear technology on your finger. I get it. You can take your blood pressure every morning. You can take your resting heart rate every morning. I don't recommend people weigh themselves every day, but especially women obsess over it. They get freaked out by the weight fluctuation with water. I like people judging how your clothes fit or take measurements. And because I've had women gain 10 pounds and lose 2 clothing sizes, and most women, I'll say, hey, if you look better and you're smaller and you're 10 pounds heavier, are you okay with that? Most women will look at me like confused for a minute, and then they'll go, oh yeah, well, I'm totally fine with that. If I look better and I feel better and I'm smaller, but the scale says that I'm heavier, because muscle takes up less space than fat. It weighs the same. Pound of muscle weighs the same as a pound of fat, but the muscle is more dense, so it takes up less space, right? It's like a pound of steel versus a pound of popcorn, right? Popcorn is going to take up half the room. Pound of steel doesn't take up very much space at all, right? Muscle versus fat. So if you are going to weigh yourself as a quantification measurement, make sure you take the weekly average. For me, I'm floating around 245, 250. One day I might weigh, 240, 246. The next day I might weigh 255. The next day I might weigh 253, 247, depending on fluid, depending on what I ate the day before, all those things. So if you take the average during the week, you can see the average trending up or down, and you don't get totally caught up in those fluctuations. So there's just a few tips for you for self-quantification. It doesn't have to be crazy. If you have the ability to get an Oura Ring, great. I think it's a great teaching tool. Just wear it in airplane mode, sync it every morning. If not, you can use resting heart rate. You can use blood pressure You can use body temperature as well. You can see what your body temperature is doing. It's a good indication of whether your body's going in the right direction or not. And understand, if you train really hard, all those numbers are going to go down or up. Your resting heart rate's going to go up. Your blood pressure might go up temporarily. Do they return normal in time? That's the biggest thing, is, do they normalize? And what is your normal, right? So these are all measurements you can take to see the status of your nervous system, the status of your body, and you can adjust your training. You can adjust your lifestyle to give the body what it needs. And when I have a high-level athlete that I work with, we might beat the crap out of them for a week or two to do super compensation, so that we beat them. We really load them up for 2 weeks. And then obviously you have to have a great training base to do this. You got to be smart with your exercise selection. They have a competition in a couple weeks. You train them hard for, 2 to 3 weeks. And then that last week you back off, you deload, and then they super compensate. They peak that upcoming week. You beat them up, you brought them down a little bit, and then the body comes back and super compensates. But most people don't need stuff like that. Most people just need consistent training that's smart. And so consistency beats intensity 9 times out of 10 over time, because that's the name of the game. So if you have a tool that can help you adjust your intensity, if you're not very good at self-regulating yourself, or if you find a great coach who is able to look at you and make adjustments accordingly to how you're feeling and doing, those are both great ways to do that. So there's a few thoughts for you. I hope you have a great day today. I hope you get outside. Make sure you get on our email list. If you get on the email list today, it's Friday, March 15th. You will get an email tonight, which will have a link to register for this week's webinar or lesson. It's not a webinar. We're not selling anything. And then for next week's lesson anyways. And then you'll get another email on Wednesday. We generally send out 3 emails a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Occasionally we will do like a sale or promotion. We might send out an email every day, but that's few and far between. We try not to blow your email inbox up too much. Some people are sending multiple emails a day. That's not how we operate. So I hope you guys have a great day. I know the weather's starting to get a lot better for a lot of you, so it's going to be a lot easier to get outside. Make sure you go do something fun outside this weekend. Take some time to sit in silence. You deserve it. And it will pay dividends in the future. Take care. Get outside.